Hi everyone, my name is Heather and I'm the person behind Happy Puppy Truffles. Today I wanted to share with you guys a fun project that you can do if you are wanting to cover up a book at home and you want to kind of refresh things. The thing I'm going to show you guys how to do today is how to cover a book sleeve. My daughter actually at school was getting ready to start using dictionaries, and we're going to have her use her sister's dictionary because she's not using it anymore. But most dictionaries and books like that in Japan, they come with a nice little sleeve that they go inside. And the one that my daughter had, my older daughter had, she didn't have anymore. It had gotten thrown out over the years. And I wanted my younger daughter's one to look kind of new and fresh, even though the inside was still old. That's always the hard thing about being a younger sister or brother, isn't it? You gotta take all the hand-me-downs. So I wanted to try to refresh it, make it look new if I could. So we happened to have an English to Japanese dictionary that was the same size, and so I just used that to cover it up to try to make it look a little cooler. So it's still a little different than everybody else's, but it looks nice. So and my daughter likes it, so that was a good thing. So I thought I'd show you guys with this old one here. This is pretty ugly looking. It's been around for a while. So now I know sometimes these are not something you're going to find around, depending on where you live. This might not be something that you guys have access to, but I thought I'd show you guys how to do the process of just wrapping this, and then at another time I'll show you guys how to do a book cover too. So let me get the book out of the way. And I think one of the easiest things that you can use for when you're doing this kind of a project is any kind of decoration sheets, and you can get these, you know, at Daiso and 100 yen stores and things like that. You can get them at craft stores like Hobby Lobby and stuff. These are just, you know, decorative pattern sheets that a lot of times you can use for refurbishing and redecorating drawers and things around the home. So it's just a nice, fun, quick cheat sheet way to do stuff, and then you don't have to worry about using glue. But you could certainly use glue and a really nice, pretty piece of origami paper, a very, you know, your favorite wrapping paper. So many different things you could use. An old Starbucks bag. I know that's always kind of a fun thing to use. So whatever you might have lying around, you just need to make sure that the piece you're using with is big enough. And as it happens, this piece is actually just left over. It's from Daiso, and it's like a crepe kind of style paper, and it has glue on it already. Now the piece just happens to be almost actually too small, but I'm still just going to use it because I don't want to waste any other items. But you want to make sure that when you put things on here that you're getting enough so that the sides come up to extend beyond the outer edge. Because we're going to wrap them inside and effectively creating a nice closure on the inside so that you don't have any of it popping off with use. And then for the top part, you do want to make sure that you're getting enough here so that it can fold over. I have double enough because, you know, I can have enough here to fold over once and twice, so it shouldn't be a problem. But you want to make sure that you have all of that. And basically, I just kind of try to work with it and get everything lined up nicely. It's good to kind of start by getting one side sort of pinched off a little bit before you even get the glue going, just to kind of know where you're working with. I start off first by getting the spine area here done quick first, and then when that's done, work on the other parts. So I know I want to give myself enough here to give some space to pull it over, and then this side too. I mean, it's really cutting it close on this particular piece of paper, but so you just know that you've got that much space. And I'm going to remove the tape from everything here, or the cover sheet here. Once you do that, there's really no going back. The longer you leave this exposed and the more you touch it, the less sticky it gets. You don't want to touch it if you can help it. But I'm going to go ahead and then just kind of put this here, keeping in mind that I'd like to have the same amount of space. And because I'm running kind of low on space, I'm just going to kind of make sure that I get this so that it's covered up to the top here. And you really want to make sure that you've got a good kind of sticking to it, of course. And then we really want to make sure that I'm getting as much closeness and not creating any extra space here as I can. So I'm really going to kind of push that over, roll it on top, And make sure there's equal pressure on both sides so that the tape sticks to everything that it needs to be sticking to. And then I'm just going to take this and pull it all the way over as far as I can. Now, if you had something that was a little bit more big, you'd have a little more space and a little more forgivingness there if you needed to, but wind up getting something like this. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and cut here and allow these parts to fold in. So when I do this, I usually just start by doing a little trimming here right along the corner. And like I said, in this case, this one's really tight and almost just barely fits. But I'm just going to pull this down as much as I can right over this edge. Now, if you're using glue for this, what you want to do is as you do each section, you want to apply your glue. Otherwise, you know, glue has a tendency to get dried out, and it doesn't, and it might also get in your way. You have that luxury then of not having it all exposed. I've tried before where just taking part of these kinds of the seal off of these, and it just never seems to work very good. So I just go for it and take the whole thing off. But we get something like that, and I'll do this side too. So if I'd been gluing it, I'd have done just one side and then rolled it over and done the spine, or just started from the spine knowing if I'm in the center and I have enough room. I had to kind of do it a little that way just because I didn't have a lot of paper to work with here. And just work slowly, making sure that you kind of pull the paper around the edge to really get a nice tight fit on that side. And if you feel like you'd like to add a little reinforcement, you can put like some tape or something on the edge, like some cute masking tape, but you do have to be kind of careful with these kinds of sleeves because with repeated use of putting it in and taking it out, that can get worn out. So if you are using glue, you'd really want to make sure that you're getting glue all the way to the very, very edge of your paper to make sure that you're really getting enough in there to tag it in there good. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and get the spine part folded down first. So if I kind of look at things, and you can kind of give yourself a little pinch here to sort of know how far you're going, you know, kind of get a visual of what you need to cut. But then we just cut along this edge right into the corner as much as we can. And I'm going to do that for both sides so that I can just lay this down. You can kind of see it here. Get it to lay down there, nicely there. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side too. And really, ideally, you want to make sure that you're not leaving length of paper here that's greater than if you just fold it over, because we want to be able to just lay this down nicely and smoothly and get these edges down too. And if you happen to have more, then you can trim at this point to make sure that you don't have any extra. And then I'll just do this side too. And then this just gives a nice finished edge to everything when you're done. And you can kind of put a little pressure on this part, make sure it's really glued down good. And it should give you a nice, clean, smooth edge. And I'm going to do the same thing then at the top here too. And like I said, if you're using glue, you just put a little bit of glue as you do each of these. And the key to putting glue on paper like this is to making sure that you have a piece of paper that you don't care about underneath, and really getting the glue, like gluing half on the edge and half on the crappy paper that you're using, to make sure you're really getting a lot of glue right on the edges of the paper to create a nice connection point when you put all this down. And that should give us a nice sealed piece. And then I can just take these parts here and tuck them inside. And if like this one here, if this is bugging you because this edging's a different length, you could trim that, or you can just leave it because it's on the inside. It's up to you. But I'm just going to get that part in there. Like so. And then I'll do this side too. And mine is really a little too short on the inside. I'd prefer to have at least 1 centimeter of paper on the inside here to really give it enough to tack on to the edge to make sure it stays. But in this case, my piece was just not quite that size, so I went with what I have. But in the end, you should get something then that looks like this. And this process works really good for, you know, redecorating boxes and stuff too. You can use the same method. Just make sure that you have the right size paper before you begin, because there's nothing worse than getting halfway through it and then realizing, oh, I don't have enough to cover that edge, and you have to add it separately. But when you're finished, you should then be able to get a nice new cover for your book in this case, if you're in Japan and we have these. If you're not, then, you know, you can use it for something else. But just one way to kind of decorate and refresh some of the things that you might have around the house. I know it can always be, especially favorite books and things like that, it can be fun to put new covers on them. I remember doing it so much when I was in school, but then as you become an adult, a lot of times we don't do that. In Japan, a lot of times when you buy a book, the bookstore will actually give you a book cover, usually made out of paper, but you can actually even buy lots of varieties of those. So that's a pretty big part of the culture of Japan. So that's one of the things I really like. So like I said, in a day or two here, I'll also have a tutorial on how to make a book cover. But for now, this is just how to refresh a book sleeve if you have it and make it nice and new again, or use it for something else. If you want to use it for a different book and cover which book it was, then that hides the fact of what it was there for you, so you can use it for something else too. Yeah, so that's just one of the many fun things that you can do with beautiful papers and things that you might have around the house. And I'll have some more fun things to share with you guys in the days to come. Thanks again always so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!